Mr. Morty, just thinking back at Japan, uh, the how how picky is the consumer about the origin of shrimp? Meaning, do they want it from a certain country? Um, and are you seeing a change in that? And what's the opportunity maybe for producing nations who have not sold much to Japan in the past?
Um, in the past, Japanese consumers, especially in the retail section, they were quite picky. They didn't want some products out of China because there were some issues with them. But recently, with all these high costs, they are more price sensitive. So they are not really picking by countries, but rather on the price competitiveness. So they'll pick whatever the origin is with a cheaper pricing. That's kind of a majority. Yeah.
Do you feel like there's an opportunity for growth in that market? Again, if I'm looking to sell my products somewhere, maybe differently than the US or diversify, do I look at Japan and say, all right, we understand the population is not growing, but can the shrimp market grow there, the volume?
Um, One big thing in Japan right now is that there's more inbound tourists coming into Japan. And post-COVID, if I'm not wrong, the number for last year was over 37 million people, which was the highest. So there are more people coming into Japan and consuming in Japan. So even though Japanese populations are decreasing, these overseas customers are consuming and helping the consumption in Japan. That's one thing. And also, right now, Japanese consumers are not really thinking too much about the certification thing. Not like US or the Europe. They still like just buy with pricing. But I think they are starting to they have to think about, future in 2050. And, they will start, I think that even Japan consumers will start to pick some certified uh, products like BAP, ASC, MSC, all these kind of certification. So I'm hoping that that will help the consumption in Japan.
Olivier, back to Europe. This brings up a thought. You commented on quality issues. So my take from your comments is that you feel that better quality would help sales. Um, you can comment on that again, but also, is there anything else that would be a key to seeing growth in any of the European markets, growth in shrimp consumption?
Well, improving the quality would help sales. The problem is it's a very price sensitive market. So it would need a very specific marketing campaign. I think in France, Madagascar was very successful with that. They managed to put their country as a brand, and they managed to sell their black tiger shrimp much more expensive than those that come from Asia, for instance, while it's still the same shrimp. But that doesn't go from itself, and it's not so easy. In the retail there, I see options. I don't know who would be doing it, but I see options because you can then address the end consumer. In catering, it's more difficult because we don't have large restaurant chains. We have very small individual restaurants, and they are very price sensitive. It's in the catering that is the most cheating, that there you have people selling underweight, etc., and they get away with it. So in the catering is difficult, but in retail, I think there are possibilities if somebody wants to take the initiative.
Yeah, thank you. Van, back to Vietnam. Um, does pricing pressure from other countries, for example, if pricing from Vaname and other countries is really low, does that potentially drive any more of Vietnamese shrimp to the local market? I think that's something a lot of us have wondered.
Right. So in the video here, you will see the video that I took in the wholesale market. That happened every night. So with the pressure from the price from Ecuador, India, and China, for example, the domestic market is still very strong. The selling price for live stream like this is pretty high. Right now, I think it's something between 5.5 to $6 per kilogram. But a few months ago, it was even 7.2 US dollar per kilograms of live stream, like what you saw in the videos there.
Very interesting. Great. Thank you. Well, that wraps up our time for today. I know there's so much more that we could get into. I hope that you'll take advantage of the time this week to seek out our panelists and seek out each other to have these conversations. Really, we cover very little here, but having all of us here in one place is a huge value. So thank you to all of you, and we will look forward to talking to you as we go for the next couple of days. Thank you very much.